Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey everybody, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined today by my friend Cammie from Deliver Me a Podcast and Hearties Hotline.
Hey everybody.
To talk about a world record Christmas. And I apologize if I mispronounce any names here, but it stars Lucas Bryant, Nikki DeLoach, and Is Dahlman. It was written by Mark Hefty and directed by Jason Burke. A young boy with autism tries to break a Guinness World Record to try and earn the attention of his birth father. Meanwhile, his mom and stepdad hope to rediscover the spark in their marriage. Welcome back to the podcast, Cammie. I'm excited to chat with you today about this movie.
Thank you. I have all my Christmas stuff out now, so I can go in full blast.
Yay! It's the holiday season. Finally.
It's the holiday season. And whoop-dee-doo, and hickory-dock.
Don't forget
to hang up your sock.
Just exactly at 12
At 12 o'clock, he'll be coming down the chimney. Coming down the chimney. Coming down the chimney down.
Oh my goodness.
We're not off topic at all.
Oh gosh. To start off, how about we talk about our merry musings, which are our overall thoughts or hot takes. Would you like to go first?
Ooh, hot takes. Okay. Love the married people storyline.
Yes, that was one of mine too.
I also, to go off of that, they weren't having trouble in their marriage.
No.
And a lot of times if they do a married storyline, they're separated, or they're about to be separated, or their marriage is in trouble. They were, they wanted to get the spark back, but there was nothing wrong with their marriage. They had just kind of hit a rut, which, I've been married for 15 years. I know what it's like to hit a rut, But I love that it was a married couple. I love that their marriage wasn't in trouble.
Yeah.
And I mean, this actor, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but I'm going to say Ayus. He is an autistic actor.
Yes, he is.
And and it's got to be relatively mild, because I read online he does roles that are on the spectrum and roles that are not on the spectrum. Wow. So I'm guessing that it's pretty mild, but he really played up the autistic side of him. And I thought, apparently he's a prodigy. He was writing screenplays at 7. Wow. Yeah. He was writing screenplays at 7, and that's impressive. And I thought he was a great little actor.
Yes.
And just really, really honest to the part. And, it helps that he has autism himself, so he knows what he's talking about. I've noticed that Hallmark is doing that quite a bit. And when I say quite a bit, twice. That's all I can think of. But My Christmas Guide, the man who played the main character is legally blind. He's not fully blind, but he's legally blind. Yeah. And so he plays a lot of characters that have vision trouble. And now we've got this boy who is playing an autistic boy who has autism. I think it's really great. I think it's really great. And the storyline was beautiful. And we definitely have not seen anything like it.
I agree.
And I'm a sucker for inspired by true stories. I mean,
Yep. And we got a cameo, which we'll mention later on in the episode, from the teen who inspired this movie. His name is Alden Maxwell. And
he was there?
Yes. A little brief cameo. Yeah.
I did not know this. So yes, I want to hear it.
Yeah. He holds the record for stacking Jenga blocks, 1,840, and Jenga giant blocks, 900, which is amazing.
On a single vertical block.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. I did not know about the cameo, so this is going to be fun. I can find out where it is.
It is. And I love how Hallmark is bringing more diversity with these storylines with autism, Down syndrome, people that are legally blind. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. And I have to mention, I think the trailblazer in all this was Martha Williamson, because Signed, Sealed, Delivered, episode 5 of the TV series, The Future Me, with the young couple.
With the young Down syndrome couple.
Yes. Bobby and Ellie.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't surprise me, because she trailblazes almost anything.
Yes. But props to Hallmark as well.
Oh, yes.
They're doing an incredible job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see storylines that aren't picture perfect, because none of us are picture perfect. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's nice to see storylines that involve regular people and people who have disabilities, because I mean, I have a disability myself. It's not very noticeable, but it's there. And so, giving a face to people with disabilities, mental or physical, because we've seen both, and it's just, and it makes for a really heartfelt story. And the fact that this was inspired by a true story makes it all the better. And I mean, I do have to wonder, when he knocked down the Jenga blocks, which was probably the most heartbreaking moment of the film, what I do wonder, did that actually happen, or was that something that they put in the movie for drama? Because I did not see that coming. I thought that they were, maybe give him a setback, but I thought that they were going to have him triumph. And he did triumph, but not officially. And I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
So, it made you want to see the sequel of him actually crushing the world record. And did you know that Alden beat his own world record?
I think I did know that. I think
because he beat the record. Yeah. First he beat the record, and I think that I can't remember what the record was, so I'm not even going to say it. But then he beat his own record.
That's amazing.
So yeah, he's doing quite the job with it.
Yes. I love these kinds of storylines, and especially since one of my first cousins has a daughter who I think is maybe 4 or 5 or so, and she has autism. I don't know what level of the spectrum. I can't remember that, but I think that she does have autism. So it was nice to see that in this movie represented.
Yeah, my niece is autistic, and on top of being autistic, she's mentally retarded. So she has no verbal skills whatsoever. And so, she just goes about her life and just does her own thing. And her dad, my brother, does such a great job of taking care of her.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it is a struggle. It is a struggle. And the fact that they didn't leave that out, because he obviously, the character of Charlie is very high functioning, but when a meltdown happens, and they didn't have a full-blown meltdown, but
Yeah.
when a meltdown happens, or when, when a freeze happens, it can be what's gonna happen next, and it can be very frightening. And I thought that these two parents,
Oh,
I thought the two parents
oh,
really did a great job of supporting him and supporting each other to raise him. And then, of course, Lucas and Nikki as acting partners knocked it out of the park. So
their chemistry. Oh man, fantastic.
yeah, they were pretty great.
Yes. And I have to say, Lucas is slowly becoming one of my favorite Hallmark leading guys.
Really?
He's great. And of course, Nikki is too. I love Nikki.
Well,
Nikki's a
yes, but
favorite.
she's not a guy.
No, of course not.
we're talking about Hallmark leading guys right at
Yes.
the moment. So
Yeah. She's one of my favorite leading ladies. And
of
Lucas is
course.
slowly becoming one of my favorite Hallmark leading men.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Favorite line of the movie?
Oh gosh.
If you had to pick one line.
Okay. Because I'm indecisive, I'm going to pick two. And they are both towards the end. There were a lot of great lines in this movie, but these are two that really stand out.
Okay.
The first one is after Charlie has failed his attempt officially at the world record, and he's in the library, and Marissa and Eric, follow him in there, and they're talking to him. And Eric says to Charlie, "You don't need to break records to prove yourself. People love you because of who you are, and you are the most extraordinary kid I know." And then Marissa says, "There is no one in the entire world like you, and there never will be." And then the second one is from Charlie a few minutes after that, when they go back outside, and
I think you're going to say one of my choices. Good thing I have two.
and he takes him to the chair that was reserved for his biological dad, and he says,
"You belong
"You're my real
here."
dad. You always have been." And then Eric says, "And you are my real boy."
Yeah, when he he grabs his hand, and something that you do with children in general, but especially when children with disabilities have something that they want to say, you encourage them to say it. And so, Eric let himself be dragged along, and he said, "You belong here." I lost it. I almost didn't hear the rest of it because that said it all. And then he just added icing on the cake. "You belong here." That that was beautiful. But so I'm going to go with my other favorite, and it might be a little cliche because it was in the preview, but I just really loved the profoundness of it. When Eric says to Charlie, "Charlie, these books are on autism.
Yes.
They are not about you."
I loved that one too. Yeah.
That was so empowering. That was so empowering. And it reminds me of what my husband, the kind of things that my husband says to me when I'm feeling down on myself. And then he lifts me up with something like that seems to be out of the blue, but makes sense with us and our life. And I just go, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a beautiful moment, and then followed up by, "Hey, let's go do something fun." Yes.
Yeah, that
You
was
you
sweet.
can leave work that easily? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that was sweet. I have to say one of my favorite parts of this movie was the relationship between Eric and Marissa and Charlie.
Oh, the three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so my brother who has the special needs child, he's divorced and remarried.
Mhm.
And let me tell you that marrying a single parent
Mhm.
with a special needs child, I mean, it's scary enough to marry a single parent with just children in the package.
Yeah.
And then you add somebody who has special needs, special circumstances, going to need special attention. That is taking on a huge responsibility. And the fact, number one, the fact that Eric did it
Mhm.
is wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that character shoots up 20 points in my book because he did not let something like a circumstance scare him away. And he went in, and everybody said it to him. You are such a good dad to him. You have done such a good job with him. You take such good care of him. And I mean, the reason why Marissa fell in love with him was because he told a joke that made Charlie laugh. And he
Mhm.
hadn't and he hadn't even smiled in such a long time. You
Yes.
know, it's amazing to see. I mean, the other thing was he had never been married. He had
Mhm.
never been married. He had never experienced marriage. And that what taking on not only a wife for the first time, but taking on a kid who is not your own and making him your own. And then
Yeah.
on top, doing such a fabulous job with helping with his special circumstance.
Yeah.
That man's golden. And if she were to think that she was getting itchy and
Mhm.
she wanted to look elsewhere, I would hold up red flags and say, don't you go anywhere. You are not going to find anybody else in the
No.
world like this.
No.
I
Yeah.
mean, called Jenga. The man called the company and
Uh-huh.
got them to make that huge donation.
Yeah.
She said it. We don't deserve you. I'm like, yeah, yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just glad that she wasn't treating him badly, that
Yeah.
she wasn't being a bad wife.
Mhm.
They just, they were just caught up in the everyday. And
Yeah.
all married couples do.
Oh, wow.
All married couples get caught up in the everyday, the mortgage, the kids, the bills, the everyday life, the exhaustion, the all of that. And it was just it was really sweet to see them have regular grown up
Mhm.
spousal conversations.
Yeah. I agree. And just a couple more things before we get into our holiday highlights. But I also loved the friendship between Charlie and Amy and
Mm,
Marissa and Jane. That was nice
that
as
was a
well.
cute friendship.
Yes.
I recently went to a conference for women, and one of the classes
Hmm.
that they gave was the friendship circle. Who needs to be in your friendship circle? The kinds of friends you need, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, I'm going to get a lot of guff from saying this, but do not make your husband your best friend. And I kind of went,
What?
wow, that's a very striking statement. And she said, don't put that pressure on your husband.
Mm-hmm.
He's your husband. Let him be your husband. Now, is he one of your best friends? Yes. But you need a best friend that feels the way you do and understands you the way you understand yourself and the way that she understands you. You need somebody who is your best friend. Don't put that pressure on your husband. And so I was watching Jane and Marissa, and that was kind of the relationship that I thought was perfect like that. They know each other, and their kids spend time together, so they are completely comfortable with each other. And obviously Amy knew Marissa back with Peter,
Yeah.
or if she didn't know her back then they have had plenty of conversation about Peter. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And April, who
Who
played,
played Jane.
she's fantastic. She's been in a lot of
Love
Hallmark
her.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been in several Hallmark roles, and she crushes every one of them.
Yes. The writing, just to wrap it up, I have to say, from Mark was fantastic. He's written a couple other Hallmark movies that I really enjoyed. Mystery on Mistletoe Lane, Unexpected Grace, A Dickens of a Holiday, and My Christmas Family Tree with Andrew Walker.
Ooh, my Christmas on that list, I would
Yes.
say My Christmas Family Tree and Dickens of a Holiday.
Yeah,
Those
those,
were
yeah.
those were the two standouts on that list. And so yeah, the person who wrote Dickens of a Holiday wrote this movie. That makes so much sense because I loved both of them.
Yes. And Mistletoe Lane was great too. I mean, all of
I
them.
liked it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like it as much as I liked the others, but yes, I still very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's a great writer, and I
Yes.
actually would love to see a sequel with these characters to see more.
Oh, you mean in World Record
Yes,
Christmas?
world record. Yeah.
That would be something. That would be something to see.
Yeah. Moving into our holiday highlights, which are the best or key moments. Would you like to share some of yours that you have written down?
I kind of already did, didn't I? But I'll go back and do it again.
Or if you have and would like.
So the I already said this one, but it begs to be said again.
Yeah.
When Charlie sat Eric down in the chair.
That was one of my top favorite.
That's probably that is probably my favorite part in the entire movie,
Yeah.
because all of that work, all of that patience, all of that love,
Yeah.
all of that trying and failing that he has done over the past 7 years. And finally, Charlie has put him in the box of his real dad. And then not only did he say thank you, but he reciprocated it. He said, "You're my real boy." And it just makes you want to sob.
I know. Yes. Yeah, the first time I watched that, I lost it. I lost it.
Oh, I refuse to confirm or deny that I needed a box of tissues.
Kind of already did.
Yes, I did. This is not a favorite moment, but I think it is a very key moment.
Yeah.
Is when we meet Peter.
Oh, can we talk about Peter for a second, please?
Worst dad award ever.
Yeah, I mean, Matt played him very well, but yes.
Oh yeah, he played it. No, there was nothing wrong with the actor, but there was nothing wrong with the character. Oh gosh.
Oh. Peter. How many times can I say that?
Oh my gosh. You move within an hour driving distance of your son, and you don't even tell them for 2 years. The only reason why Marissa knows is her boss ran into him. So she didn't even tell them.
Yeah.
I mean, what a...
Yeah.
You can definitely see why they got divorced.
And the fact he didn't show up when he promised Charlie he would. I mean, he did show up, but he was very late. He actually missed the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, yeah, he showed up, but he showed up 2 hours late. So he wasn't even supposed to see that second attempt, because the only reason it happened is because Charlie failed his first attempt. And so he didn't even come to see his son do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is probably horrible to say, but I partially blame Peter for Charlie messing up.
I do too.
I mean, if Peter had shown up, that ending moment with Eric would not have happened.
No.
And so for that reason, I'm glad that Peter showed his true colors and didn't show up.
Yeah.
But Charlie would have gotten that attempt if Peter had shown up, because he got unfocused and he freaked out and he started getting overwhelmed because his dad wasn't there to see him, and he thought he was an embarrassment to his dad. Oh gosh.
There's one particular line I'm going to mention in a little while.
In a little while. Oh, okay.
It just made me sad for Charlie.
Can I guess?
Yes, you can.
I'm doing this so that my dad will be proud of me. Was I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you were right. Yes. That was one of the lines, yeah.
To put so much stake in a person who is so absent from your life, that's just sad in and of itself, especially since it only happened the one time that he showed up on Christmas Eve. Yeah. But I tell you, children in general have memories like elephants. And then you put someone who is autistic and their brain is hyper focused on big events like that, then you better not make the mistake of not showing up anymore, which Peter did. And yeah, to have a father who cared so little about his son that he couldn't even show up to what was the biggest moment of his son's life up to that point. It's just
shame on you, Peter.
Shame on you, Peter. And I really love the way they did the transition with Marissa, because she was not thinking about taking him back. You can totally tell.
No, not
you
at
can
all.
totally tell that the whole thing was for Charlie.
Yeah.
And you can also tell that she was completely uncomfortable with the idea of going to dinner. And he didn't listen to her. She said no. And he said, okay, meeting starting. Meet me outside 5:30. But then at the restaurant, she's there. She's saying, I'm doing this for my son. I'm doing this for my son. And then he's not even listening to her. He doesn't think anything of the fact that he's lived an hour away for 2 years and has said nothing. And then you see the change in her eyes, and she just gets up and goes, you're going to do whatever you are going to do, or whatever you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, you go, girl.
Yeah. Yes.
Go back home to your real family.
Shame on you, Peter. All he cared about was getting a drink.
Okay. I'm calm.
Okay. Going back to the first scene in the movie, there were a couple of lines that made me laugh and, smile as well. And one was when they are decorating the tree outside and talking about leaving the decorations up all year long. And Eric says, I like it. I think other people might find it questionable. And then they're talking about decorating the inside, and Eric says, think of it as our quality time.
Quality time.
And then they get inside, And she's holding the
Baby Jesus.
baby Jesus, yeah, for the nativity scene in the library, and he says, "That's a good look on you, holding a baby," and she just kinda gives him a look like, "Really, Eric?"
She puts the baby down. No more looking at me with a baby.
Oh. And then Charlie and Amy get there, and they're talking about how their last day of school went before break, and they said that every class had to sing a different Christmas carol. Their class was Hark the Herald Angels Sing,
Which they said the title wrong.
and Charlie says, "Why is there a Christmas song about a singer named Harold? I do know a bus driver named Harold who hums. Harold Ramis. He was in old movies. Eric, did he sing?" "I don't know, but you know who does sing? Harold Styles." And then Amy's like,
Harry
"That's
Styles.
Harry." Oh my
Yeah,
god.
they had good banter.
Yes. And I thought it was a sweet moment when Charlie and Amy walk away and Marissa says, "You know who else used to give me unprompted
I
hugs?"
love that line.
That was sweet. And then they share a hug, and Charlie walks up. This was the funniest line of the scene right here. When he's mentioning to his parents the record for the world's longest mustache, 14 feet long, and Marissa says, "How does he get around with that thing, Eric? He mustached it in
Dash
his
it in his pocket. Eric had some pretty dang good dad jokes. I gotta hand it to him.
He did a great job, yeah.
The riot, what happened to the fish? They were
Oh,
battered.
they were battered.
I love that Charlie was still laughing about it when he got up and walked away from the table.
Yeah. This was one of my favorite Marissa and Charlie moments,
Mm.
and it's their talk while decorating cookies, and they're talking about the date night,
Are
with
you two
Marissa.
gonna
Yeah.
kiss?
And she's like, "Well, that is none of your beeswax, but he's my husband, so if we want to kiss, then maybe we will." And then Charlie's like, "Ew."
Such
Oh,
a boy. Such a boy thing to do.
yes.
Which, it just occurred to me how interesting it is that he's saying ew to kissing, but he's starting to develop feelings
Feelings for
for
Amy.
Amy. That is a really interesting juxtaposition. And it kind of shows where that, he's still very much a little boy, but he is maturing and he knows how to think and feel as a growing boy. And that's a really, really interesting thing to put next to each other. The ew cuties mentality and the you make my heart beat so fast.
That was a sweet moment
I,
too.
I went, huh, that is really, really interesting that they would put both in the same movie in the same character.
Wow.
It's kind of like The Princess Bride. The kid says, "Ew, is this a kissing book?" And then by the end, the grandfather says, it's kissing. You don't want to hear that. I don't
Aw.
mind so much. It's been an hour.
Aw.
So
Aw. This, I didn't mention it before, but this was another favorite line in the movie when they are talking about his biological dad, and Charlie says, "Did he leave because I'm autistic?" And Marissa says, "Absolutely not. Your dad loves you so much, and you should know that you were born a product of nothing but love."
yeah, born a product of nothing but love, I can totally get behind. Your dad loves you so much, totally cannot get behind that.
No, no. But I thought it was a sweet moment nonetheless.
Oh yeah. No, it was a sweet moment, and she totally said it for the sake of him. She
Yes, she did.
totally said it for the sake of him, and to be fair, she probably she probably thought that, at that moment, she probably thought that
Good.
that Peter really does love Charlie so much. But no, he doesn't. He doesn't love him enough, so that's what makes that line so heartbreaking, is that no, he doesn't. But your real dad, a man who's been there in and out for everything, he really does love you that much.
Yes.
I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to cry.
I'm about to start crying too. Yeah. Kind of comical one from Eric that I loved is when he sees Hillary at the library and she says, "I don't know what I would do without your wife. She is the best employee I've ever had." And then
the
Eric
best wife I ever had.
I mean, she's the only one, but still. That was so cute.
Or what's his name? Gary, the library patron. Whoa, yes. You look like $1 million. Thank you, Gary. Yes, thank you, Gary. And thank you for stealing my line.
Yes. And then he follows up by saying,
"You look like $2 million, adjusting for inflation."
Yes. Yeah, that's what he said. Adjusting for inflation. And he said cheesy, and she's like, "Yeah, kind of, but I liked it."
I liked it.
Oh. Another scene that I really loved was Eric, Marissa, Charlie, and Amy at the tree lot. And Charlie says, "It smells like the air freshener in Nana Mary's car." "Yes, except this is real.
Yeah.
So we need to choose from. How do we choose?" "You don't choose the tree chooses you. When you're in front of the right tree, it's kind of like, Alleluia." And then Marissa says, "We'll wait for the Hallelujah chorus." And then, they're looking for a tree while Marissa and Eric are talking. And then they find the tree and they're like, "Hallelujah."
They sang it wrong. They sang it wrong. I went, wait a minute, that's not how it goes. I forgave them because it was a very candid family moment and it looked very real. So I forgave them and I'm like, nah, you're singing it wrong. Of course, a music girl would say that though.
Yeah. And just really briefly, I did love when Eric and Marissa were talking about cozying up on the couch and watching an old Christmas movie, A Christmas Story, which is her favorite.
Yeah, there's nothing romantic about that movie, but it's a classic.
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing to do. I love to cozy up on the couch under a blanket with just the Christmas lights on and have a cup of hot cocoa watching a Christmas movie with my husband. The only problem is I got to find the right one. So
yeah, I've actually never seen A Christmas Story.
Oh, it's precious.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, you do. I'm dead serious. You really do need to watch that movie. It's a classic and it's a Christmas staple. Yes. So, yeah.
That one and It's a Wonderful Life, which I have also never seen.
I beg your pardon. Scrooge! Grinch! I'm calling her out! I want the Christmas police over here ASAP! Be here in the jingle of a bell.
I'm gonna try to watch it this year because I've heard it's really good.
My husband does not care for it. I was telling this on my podcast. I was talking to my friend McLean, who's a Hallmark director, and yeah, he said, my wife and I, we have a tradition every year on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. We watch It's a Wonderful Life. It's just cinematic genius. And I said, yeah, I agree. Can you call Will and tell him that? He said, he doesn't like it. I said, nope.
Oh my God.
But I love him anyway. So
yes. Yeah, I need to watch it. I do like Jimmy Stewart though. He's a fantastic.
Well, if you like Jimmy Stewart, this is his most famous role. So you'll love it.
Yes, I'm sure I will. Another nice moment was Eric, Marissa, and Charlie at home decorating the tree and talking about ice skating. And it made me laugh when Charlie says, Eric taught me step, step, glide. And Marissa says, well, that's a classic technique. Mine is more like a wobble, wobble, fall.
And then a few scenes later, we see her skating with
Yes.
complete confidence.
Yes, I loved that. Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense, Marissa. What's up with this? You don't look like you're struggling.
No, that was a nice scene though. I really
That's
liked
that's mom humility for you.
I thought
No,
the
it was a cute scene. That was a really nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
A favorite Eric and Marissa moment was when they are at home and they're laying on the blanket outside looking up at the snow. And this is a game that she played when she was a kid with her family, where they'd look up at the snow and see who would blink first. And of course, Marissa wins almost immediately.
Because she's used to it.
Yeah, I love how Eric's like trying not to blink. Oh my gosh. And then they start talking about having more kids, and Marissa still says maybe someday, and Eric says, "Did you say Sunday? Because I can do Sunday. I think I'm pretty free on Sunday."
Such a married people joke. That is totally something my husband would have said if we were having this conversation.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was sweet when he said, when I look at you, you're such an amazing mom. Charlie is incredible. He'd be a wonderful big brother. And she says, I'll think about it. And he says, are you thinking about it right now?
Again, something my husband totally would have said. Just, oh man, he plays the character so well because he is such a dad. He is, with all of his jokes, he's such a dad and he's such a guy, in the
Yeah. And Lucas does a great job in this role.
Yeah, he really did.
One of the most touching scenes in the movie was when they are at the library and they're having the video call with Ophelia, and she introduces her daughter to Charlie, and her daughter is also autistic.
Yeah, I think that's what got her attention.
Yes.
Ophelia. Yeah.
Yes. Talking about superpowers, and Charlie is sharing why he wants to break the world record and what he wants for Christmas. And he says that he wants to show the world that autistic people can do great things, and he wants his dad to be proud of him. And then he mentions a brother or sister, and Eric and Marissa kind of look at each other like, okay.
I did not know that this was going on in his brain.
But that was really sweet.
So this begs the question, did he overhear them talking about having another baby at some point?
He could have.
Or did this come out of his brain that he's got a new dad, so now it's time for a new brother or a sister?
That's possible. Either one. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks that maybe he would have overheard something. However, Eric says to his mother, every time I bring it up, she passes it off. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's totally, if you try to think in the pattern that Charlie's brain is thinking in, it's the next step. It's the next logical step. You have a new dad. Now you've had time for that to settle in. So now it's time for a new baby. So it could be either one, really.
Yeah. I agree. A scene that really got me in the feels was when Marissa, Jane, Charlie, and Amy are in town, and they're standing in front of the Christmas tree talking about the ornaments with the Christmas list inside. And Charlie wants to do something for charity when he breaks his world record. And Amy suggests they decorate their own blocks, and for a donation, he would use them in his world record attempt, and they donate the money to charity. And I loved that.
Mm-hmm. I loved how Amy said, these are everyday things.
Yes.
And Jane goes, you see how lucky you two are? I do
Yes.
that with my kids all the time. It's like, go, Jane. That's a mom moment right there. I
Yeah.
say that to my kids all the time. Like, you see how lucky you are?
Yeah. It's very true. I mean,
It
sometimes
is.
you don't know how good you have it.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
So much. So
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really, really good moment. And the other thing is it's a very
Mhm.
mainstream thing to say,
Yeah.
which just shows that they try everything they can
Mhm.
to treat Charlie like a normal kid. He
Yeah.
has special accommodations that he needs, and there are certain things that he needs in order to function
Mhm.
and certain things that he can't do, but there's so much that he can appreciate. And
Mhm.
so, because she didn't say it to just Amy, she said it to both of them. You see how lucky you two are? And
Mhm.
I mean, that would be very easy to just say it to her daughter
Yeah.
because it's her daughter who said it. And
Mhm.
it would just be very easy to go over the fact that, well, we can't say that to Charlie because he's got special needs. But no, they put him right in there in that grouping. And it was a very tiny, almost fleeting example of how they really have made an effort to mainstream him and to include him in everyday life, which is beautiful. And I think that is one of the reasons why he's so high functioning,
Yeah. I
is they
agree.
just treat him like a regular person.
Yeah. It was a very touching moment.
Mm-hmm.
And before we move on, I just got to briefly mention the pun from Jane. It's like a holiday block party.
But
Oh my gosh.
oh goodness. And Marissa promptly says, you and Eric and your jokes.
Yep. Another favorite Eric and Marissa moment was when they are at home and Marissa comes clean about seeing Peter. And I love when she says, you know how much I love you, right? And he says, no, I think I need you to remind me.
That was the perfect way to handle that because he didn't get angry.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved he
You know,
didn't get angry about it.
yeah, he didn't get angry.
Yeah.
But he also gave her the opportunity to prove it
Mm-hmm. Yes.
without saying prove it.
Yeah.
You know, it was so great because it was instantly
Mhm.
passed over, no anger, no issues.
Yeah.
And then he handled the whole situation with humor.
Yeah.
And so throw romance, humor, and forgiveness in one nice little package, and you've got a great moment.
Yeah. I agree. Really briefly, I have to mention this sweet moment between Charlie and Amy when Charlie is doing the interview with Carla from Channel 9 and he is kind of stumbling a little bit and she goes up to help him out.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
Yeah.
That's true friendship right
Great
there.
friendship moment. Yeah. And we get to the moment with the cameo from Alden, which I loved. And this is when I think it's Amy, Charlie.
Yeah, it's Amy and Charlie.
Yeah. And they're at one of the tables, and Alden's character, Christopher, comes up to buy blocks to
Yeah,
decorate.
so cute. I love it when they do that because it's his story.
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, I think we already mentioned this earlier on, but we also see Charlie talking to Santa and receiving another set of Jenga blocks to add to his total. and the $10,000 check thanks to Eric.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is some guy right there. When they said, when Eric and Marissa were talking about 7 years, are you getting itchy? No. Are you getting itchy? No. Who could you find? If she
No.
was getting itchy, there would be no way there
Yeah.
would be no way on this earth that she could find anyone better. When she said, "We don't deserve you," I'm like, yeah, I kind of almost agree with you, because this
Yes,
guy is incredible.
he is. Yes. Moving on to the scene at home, I thought it was really sweet of Marissa to comfort Amy after Charlie shares his feelings about her. And she said that he is her best friend and she didn't want to make things weird. And of course, Charlie gets upset. He runs off to his room.
Well, because he
And
thought that she was calling him weird, which
yes,
he totally took that the wrong way.
yeah,
It was sad. It was very sad that he would take that the wrong way. It's also, there are two really interesting things about this scene.
mm,
First of all, you've got Charlie, who in the beginning of the movie went, ew,
mm,
when talking about kissing.
yeah,
And then you have it a little bit later, and he's saying, "You make my heart beat so fast." It's a really interesting juxtaposition
yeah,
of a young boy getting
yeah.
aware of romance and
Mhm.
getting very aware that he sees things differently.
Yeah.
And but then the other thing is the fact that Marissa comforted Amy, because it would have been so easy.
Mm,
It would have been so easy for Marissa to get upset, or for Marissa to say,
my
just
God.
just go along with it. Just go along with it. I mean, it's not real. I know it's not real, but just go along with it for his sake.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy to do either of those two things. But here you have this mom who is very protective of her son, but also remembers what it's like to be a teenage girl. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just now starting to figure out what their hormones are trying to say,
Yeah. Mhm.
and it just, and she realizes that, and
Mhm.
she is just, she is so kind to consider the fact that Amy has feelings in this too,
Yeah.
and that she wasn't trying to do it maliciously.
Yeah.
And for Marissa to realize that was just really sweet.
Yes, I agree. And we also didn't really get a whole lot of scenes with just the two of them, but the talk Eric has with Charlie about matters of the heart and being vulnerable. And he says, and if your heart's not open, then the good feelings can't get in.
The talk about women.
Yes. It was very touching,
It
very
was.
sweet. Father, son.
Yeah, was one of those classic father son moments, and how quickly those two, just using teamwork, split it up. You go him, I got her. Just, it was beautiful. It
Yes.
really showed how ingrained their teamwork in handling all kinds of situations has become second nature over the last 7 years.
Yeah, I agree. And we get to the last few scenes in the movie on Christmas Eve. They meet Ophelia in person, Charlie's world record attempt, which we already mentioned, and was heartbreaking.
I still say it was Peter's fault.
Yeah. Yes, it was Peter's fault. But if he had shown up, we would not have gotten the ending that we did. And I'm glad that
No,
we got the ending we did. Yeah.
no, you're right. You're right. We never would have gotten that ending, but it's still his fault that he missed the attempt.
Yes. And then after they walk out of the library, Eric, Marissa, and Charlie, Marissa tells Eric she's ready to try for another child. And I thought that was a sweet moment. And then we get Charlie calling Eric dad, which we already mentioned as well. And then Brookswood breaks the record for gift wrapping with 1,522 presents.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
would be fun to participate in because I love wrapping presents. And so, just like, let's go.
Yes. Yeah, that would be fun. I'm not the best gift wrapper, but I'm trying to improve, but it's still fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Charlie breaks the Jenga World Record for himself with the help of Amy with 1,401 blocks. And I loved that scene and, her support. And at the end, when he unofficially breaks the record, she's like, Charlie, what do you have to say? And he's like, Merry Christmas.
Do you think he waited an entire year to attempt it again? I don't know what the official wait time is.
I don't know. I would have to look that up.
Yeah, that would be something to look up. How long do you have to wait to make a next attempt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe if we get a sequel, we can see him officially break the record.
Or he could, because I read that Alden broke the record and then he broke his own record.
Yes, I remember you saying that earlier on. Yeah.
That would be fun to see either one in a sequel.
Yes. And then we get the time jump with Christmas with the new baby. And Nana Mary, Jane, and Amy are there too. And I loved that.
So Charlie and Amy are holding hands in that scene.
I did not even notice that.
Yeah.
I need to look out for that next time I watch.
I am 90% certain that Charlie and Amy were holding hands.
That's very sweet.
It could have been a quick look thing and I misconstrued it, but I don't know. I'm wondering if that means that it did turn into something.
Yeah. Hopefully. I think that would be sweet if it did. Moving into our ratings segment, what would you rate this movie for plot and script, chemistry, Christmas feels, and overall on a scale of 1 to 10?
Can I just give it a 9.5 across the board?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there was very little.
Yes.
There was very little to criticize. There was very little that I didn't like about. I'm even having trouble thinking of what I didn't like off the top of my head. It was a great movie. It was not all that romantic, because it's not talking about a love story, but it was talking about the love story of a family.
Yes.
And
that's
so
totally okay. We need more movies like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a different type of romance. And it's a very, very, very common type of romance that a lot of people are going through in this time in their lives. So yeah. So yeah, I'll just give it a 9.5 across the board.
Yeah, that's what I did. Great minds think alike.
Guess so.
Just not planned. Not planned.
Nope.
I definitely think it's going to be in my top 10, most likely my top 5 of 2023 for Christmas movies.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, it was very good.
My daughter wants to watch it so badly.
I hope she'll get to watch it soon because
I think that we'll find a chance for her to do it at some point.
Fantastic job to the entire cast and crew.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they had a great meshing.
Yes, they did.
All of them.
Well, this was so much fun, Cammie. Thank you for joining me for this movie review. I had a great time as always.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And I can't wait to have you back on again in the future.
It'll be fun. We'll have to see what comes up.
Yes, definitely. All right, Hallmarkies, I think that wraps up our review of A World Record Christmas. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like this video and share your thoughts on the movie in the comments. If you want to stay up to date on all of my Christmas movie reviews, you can subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.